Okay, welcome to another rendition of Math is Easy Step by Step. So today I'd like to go over exponents power of a power rule. And the rule is that you can multiply a power to a power. So here's an example of a power to a power. X to the second power raised to the power of 2. So the rule is you can multiply these two guys, and 2 times 2 is 4. X to the fourth power would be the answer if you're simplifying this particular problem. But in mathematics, there are so many different ways sometimes to get to the same solution or the answer. So I would like to show you that here in this particular video without getting too far ahead. So here you're going to see this broken down. Now again, you can multiply 2 times 2 and that'll give you x to the fourth. But you need to understand that within this parentheses you have a term, 1x to the second power. And when it's raised to a power of 2 like this, it means this term times itself twice. And if you follow the arrow here, I'm showing you that here now. X squared times x squared. So this indicator here means multiplications, and then this is an invisible 1 that is actually right in front of that x. If you're not familiar with the invisible ones, please check some of my prior videos. I have a specific video that goes over invisible ones. And so you can see here 1 times 1 is 1x. You don't have to show the 1 in your answer. You could put a 1 in front of that x, or you can leave that x alone. It all means the exact same thing. And when you multiply with bases and exponents, when the base is the same, you keep the same base. And when you multiply with exponents, you add the exponents. 2 plus 2 is 4. So I don't want to get you confused. When you're multiplying, again, this is multiplication with exponents. This here is a power raised to a power. So you can multiply these right here. 2 times 2 is 4. And that's the rule. So here are two different ways I'm showing you to get to the same answer. Now here is a little more complex of a problem. And I have not quite gone over the negative exponential values, at least not the rules. I haven't created a rule video. But I would like to show you now, what do we do when we have a negative power of a power? Okay, so the original problem here for number 2 is x squared raised to the power of a negative 2. And now you're going to see where that invisible 1 comes into play. There's an invisible 1 underneath this term. It's not shown because it's invisible. You're supposed to assume that you know it there. So I'm showing it with the dot, 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 dot here. There's a 1 in the denominator's place of this term. In order to get rid of that negative power of 2 power, you simply flip that fraction inside those parentheses. And you would change the negative 2 to a positive 2 value. And it simply, it looks like this. That x squared will be in the denominator's place, and that invisible 1 is going to be up top in the numerator's place. That will change this negative 2 at the power of a power into a positive 2. And let's take a look at what that looks like here. So just like you see here. Let me lower this down a little bit so you can see it. A little bit more. There we go. And so you can see here, in order to change that power of a negative 2 to a positive 2, you simply flip the fraction. Again, there's an invisible 1 underneath that x squared. I'm showing you here. You could just draw a line and put a 1 if you like, if that helps you to see it. You flip it, that 1 becomes part of the top of the fraction, x squared becomes the bottom, and that negative 2 is now a positive 2. So what does this mean? Well, this means a positive 2. It means 1 over x squared times itself twice. So 1 over x squared times 1 over x squared. And now you're just going to simplify and multiply this problem through. And I'm showing you that here. 1 over x squared times 1 over x squared. I'm going to show my invisible ones in front of those x's. It just makes life so much easier. And remember, when you multiply with the same base, you add the exponents, right? So 1 times 1 is 1x, right? I could put a 1 in front of that x. I could put a dot, dot, dot in front of the x, or I could just leave that x where it is. 2 plus 2 is 4. And we go to the numerator, 1 times 1 is 1. So our final answer for this particular problem is 1 over x to the 4th power, simplified. Math is easy, step by step. I hope you can join me for a few more videos. I'd like to give you more examples of exponents, power of a power rule in the next 2 coming videos. Thank you for joining me. Math is easy, step by step.